So, what do they call WrestleMania in France? What is up, guys? Wrestling Premier is here again. Immediately after rage quitting on a John Cena video due to circumstances out of my hands, I opted to make this. I hope those issues will be resolved soon. But with that said, 2005, the year JR got fired and his ass was exposed to 6 million people on live television. 2005, the year Matt Hardy got cheated on and effed over. 2005, the year Orlando Jordan lost title matches quicker than Jinder Mahal's push. And you may be thinking, oh, that year sucked. But it was quite the contrary. Why? Because for one, we got to see new blood in the main events. Reign of Terror was finally over. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 came out, and I've yet to see a game come out with better gameplay. My favorite's 07, though. And I'm under the belief that 2005 was pretty damn good, and that's just for WWE. Because if we're talking about Ring of Honor, there was Samoa Joe and CM Punk, TNA, the X Division. You get it. 2005 was cool. This WrestleMania was the beginning of something special. Two superstars of a new generation finally given the keys to the kingdom. Cena got SmackDown and Batista got Raw, and if you compare it to previous years, it was very fresh. Those two aren't the only ones getting pushes. There was Randy Orton and Edge, and the WWE is finally getting over that hump from 02 to 04, the struggles of Austin and Rock leaving. 2005 was actually the first year they turned a profit over, the investment in the prototype and Leviathan was finally paying off. With that said, WrestleMania 21 was held in the Staples Center on April 3rd, 2005 in Los Angeles, California. 20,193 were in attendance to witness history being made, aka Big Show showing his ass cheeks, and the buy rate was 1,090,000. Wow. It was a bit higher than WrestleMania 20, and at the time was the second most purchased WrestleMania event. The theme songs to the event were big time, ironically 22's theme as well, by the soundtracks of Our Lives and Behind Those Eyes by Three Doors Down. Also, a game was made for the Xbox and it was based on WrestleMania 21, but it didn't even feature the arena itself. It was WrestleMania 20. The game looks aesthetically pleasing. Once you get to know it, actually play the damn thing, it sucks. But WWE took advantage of the fact that they were in Hollywood and made a bunch of trailers. So they parodied a bunch of movies. JBL stood on the Few Good Men one, shouting, "You can't handle the truth." Pulp Fiction one was iconic with Eddie slowly opening up that briefcase and discovering what they call WrestleMania in France. There was Bravehearts with Triple H, and then there's the best one. The Taxi Driver one, Are You Talking to Me? Big Show's jacket was getting ripped up. A mic falls while he's doing his best Robert De Niro impression.
You talk to me.
It was some good stuff. Now that I've set the stage for one of my favorite WrestleManias, even got the DVD, let's get into it. Okay, Lillian Garcia started off the show with America the Beautiful. USA chants intensify, and it was time for the intro. They showed off the trailers, and damn it, they dubbed the music again. Before the show officially kicked off, there was one final trailer to show. A Gladiators parody featuring Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's talking about how he's the chief ass whipper of sorry SOBs, and the best part was when he takes off that helmet, reveals his name, and says that tonight, he unleashes hell. Pyro goes out, commentary teams introduce themselves, and it's time for the first match. Eddie Guerrero meets his tag team partner, Rey Mysterio. Oh man, this was a first for WrestleMania. Tag champs facing off. These two guys are some of the all-time greats, Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. They had some classics down in WCW, but this time it was going to happen on the biggest stage, WrestleMania. The story of this matchup was simple. Eddie wanted to know if he can beat Rey. Obviously, that would turn into something else, but at the moment, they were good buddies. Also, check out this video. 2005 was the start of something special for Rey Mysterio. He was marketable, had superb matches, and WWE felt it was time to push him to the next level. Was it deserved? Hell yeah. Anyways, as the bell rings, Eddie chants intensify. Side headlock takedown from Guerrero. Fireman's carry counter, awesome. Rey was trying to pick up the pace, whereas Eddie was trying to pick the arm. Some grappling leads to a catapult to the outside. Little trickery from both men, and it's a stalemate. And they're like, damn, you're good. Both guys were evading each other. It was Rey that won this battle. Eddie bounced back with a strike before diving over the top rope, and in the ring, he goes back to work on that arm. Fans rally Mysterio on, but Eddie quickly puts a stop with a backdrop targeting that right shoulder. He goes for the surfboard, and it was doing some work, but he almost pinned himself in the process. STF from Guerrero, and things were slowing down at this point. Once again, the fans tried getting Rey back into it. He did find an opening and sent Latino Heat out of the ring. Then he proceeded to hit this impressive corkscrew plancha over the top rope, and damn do I love that spot. It was superb. In the ring, he hits the senton, and just as he builds momentum, elbow from Eddie. He attempts the Three Amigos, but only gets one as Rey once again countered into a pinfall attempt. Backbreaker before another Three Amigos attempt. He hits two this time, but Rey evaded the third and almost hit the 619 before walking into a brutal tilted world backbreaker. He once again spammed the suplexes, but this time it worked. Frog splash wasn't to be as Rey Mysterio rolls out of the way, and once both men recover, they quickly try rolling each other up. Drop toe hold, and boom! 619 as he goes for the West Coast pop. Eddie powerbombs him, but that wasn't enough. And I just loved how the commentary marked out for that one. They really made you believe that it could be it. Crowd, once again, incredible. Both men get up and Ray runs into a tilted world. Nope, he rolls Eddie up. 1, 2, 3. Wow. You know, I haven't watched this in several years. Going into it, I thought it was going to be below expectations. But if this match happened to involve 2 others, it'd be appreciated more. Since these 2 are all-time greats, it's a good match. But yeah, like I said, going into it, I was expecting something else. Like, some people were like, oh, this match was disappointing, whatever. And I get it. Like, you see Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, you expect some sort of 5-star classic. This wasn't that, but for an opener to WrestleMania, with the time they were given, it was a great opener. Crowd was into it, commentary attitude, and both guys were awesome. Rey Mysterio once again beat Eddie Guerrero, and he had to swallow his pride to shake his partner's hand. Like I said, great opener. I loved it, even though you expect more from these guys. In the back, JBL finally meets Triple H. They insult each other. Triple H pokes fun at him, telling JBL that he should keep telling himself he's good, and somebody will believe it. Flair woos at Jordan, and both champs were expecting the other to lose their belts. JBL was a heat magnet. Triple H was hated for his actions, add to that the reign of terror and stuff, and this was the perfect stage for them to lose the belts. The next match was Money in the Bank. Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Christian, Shelton Benjamin, Edge, and Kane challenged for the right to hold that briefcase. Now, you may know that Chris Jericho invented this, right? But then again, he invented WrestleMania, the word mark, everything. It was supposed to be this thing called a Hollywood Dream match. You know, winner gets to fulfill his dream. RVD would have won it, and he would have brought back ECW. He got injured. Add to that, they tweaked the idea into Money in the Bank. Winner gets the opportunity to challenge for any title for up to 1 year. World title, I should know. Anyways, right out of the gate, the guys tried jumping Kane. You know, they knew the biggest guy in WWE world had the best chance of winning. Benoit and Benjamin ended up suplexing him on the outside. Captain Charisma tried stealing the match, but Jericho slammed that ladder directly into his face. He gets into it with Shelton before dropkicking the Canadians. Crossbody, springboard from Christian, while Benjamin puts their dives to Sheamus to top it all off. Kane hit a clothesline off the top. He proceeded to use the ladder as a weapon, only to walk into a missile dropkick. Jericho then uses that as a weapon. I always chuckle when he drops it on Edge like trash. Benoit comes in with a German, sending Y2J in the ladder all the way back to 2004. Chris cross faces anyone in sight before a ladder catches him above his right eye. Then Kane destroys his arm before walking to a spear, and all of a sudden it's an ENC reunion. Shelton reminds everyone that he's a part of this match, and damn, it just didn't slow down. You blink and you essentially miss a big spot. Shelton had a flapjack, a stinger splash. He climbs up top, but Chris and Christian return. Another ladder sat up, and all the men were up top, and they obviously crashed and burned it. In Edge's case, he got T-boned. Shelton was a highlight reel on this night. Well, he's a highlight reel in every ladder match he's ever been in. And if that wasn't enough, he sprinted up a ladder and clotheslined Chris Jericho right off the top. And it was one of the most impressive spots of 2005, bar none. The most memorable spot of the match for me. This thing was so damn good, made its way to the Raw intro, and man, I just love Shelton Benjamin. This guy was a freak of nature. As he tries to retrieve the briefcase, Christian blasts him, and to top it all off, Kane unmercifully tried chokeslamming him onto the ground. Luckily, saved by the ropes, Tomko tries aiding Christian, only for Kane to ruin everything, and it was incredible. Meanwhile, Kane and Jericho fight atop the ladder, but neither man succeeded. Chris Benoit returns, and instead of winning, he slowly climbs out to the top of the ladder and hits a headbutt that busted him open. His arm was hurting, but he was going to retrieve that briefcase come hell or Kane. Same thing, he forcefully fought off a big monster, and just as he's got the briefcase, Heat Magnet Edge blasts him with a chair. The boos were loud in the Staples Center, and he steals it. Okay, that was a superb showing. Money in the Bank to this day. In my eyes, this one has yet to be topped. It was a 20-minute highlight reel. There was never a dull moment. Edge winning was the best choice probably, but had somebody else won, it wouldn't have been bad. His character at this point was sort of deranged compared to the Rated R Superstar thing. Without Lita, he was kind of going crazy. He was completely obsessed with the title, and that's what caused him to turn heel in October in storyline, and he was just poised to win that briefcase. Like I said, the best Money in the Bank match. It's one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite, along with the 2019 one where Finn Balor almost died. Andrade also almost died. Yeah, it's definitely the best one, and it's just crazy to think that this one, 16 years later, has yet to be topped. Well, in my opinion. Eugene then came out talking about King Kong Bundy and WrestleMania when Muhammad Hassan came out. He was angry over being excluded from the biggest show of the year, and then he proceeded to insult LA and Hollywood, saying that's got a profound history of bigotry. Add to that, he had to take a backseat to a disgrace like Eugene. He's going to create a WrestleMania moment himself. Boom, Eugene gets attacked. Boots intensify, camel clutch, and there's no hope for Eugene, but then Real American plays and the crowd's unglued. They try to make the attack, but Hogan was still 99 overall in 2005. Hassan was beaten from pillar to post. Daivari tries using a chair, but he forgot Hogan was impervious to jobber pain, and out he goes. Eugene's nowhere to be found, and for the next 5 minutes, Hogan celebrates. He was riding high at this point, with Hogan Knows Best being released a few months later. Add to that, he made his return and showed HBK how to play politics, so there's that. It wasn't the last we've seen of Hogan on this night. The next match was between Randy Orton and The Undertaker. Oh, this one, man. It has been a while since I watched it. It was the start of something special, you know, Undertaker and WrestleMania. His matches were must-see because there was the streak. Also, this was around the time period where they began talking about the streak a lot, and it was a huge integral part of this storyline. The Undertaker was 12-0 at this point, and Randy Orton, after some advice from superstar Billy Graham, tried to go where no man has ever went. Because of this, he was slowly turning into a heel. He RKO'd Stacy Keibler in the most legend killer way. You know, he kissed her and boom, delivered it. Cowboy Bob Orton got involved and felt that his son was getting out of hand, and even begged The Undertaker to have mercy for him. Orton was really pushing Taker's buttons, and it was a great storyline. Also, I should note that WrestleMania was only the beginning of it. Another special WrestleMania entrance for The Undertaker and for Randy Orton. He was doing good, but at the same time, he was trying his best to ruin everything. Why? Well, he missed the rehearsal for this matchup. Everybody, including his father and The Undertaker, were there waiting for him, and watching Untold, you can see just how much he regrets that moment to this very day. You thank The Undertaker for not holding it against him, and I'm glad that he managed to change following all of this. Obviously, it took him 2 more years, but better late than never, right? So the bell rings. Orton tries evading the dead man, and he didn't want to be cornered, and boom, he slaps him. Side headlock, leapfrog, beautiful drop kick gets him a 2 count. He goes for a back body drop, and all this jumpy jump was for nothing as the dead man strikes. Orton was quick, though. He wasn't going to be cornered. RKO attempt to go south and back, and the ring Taker hits the apron leg drop. He then connects with Old School, and Orton was in deep trouble. He realizes this and drop kicks his opponent off the apron and into the barricade. Back in the ring, the Legend Killer finally takes control, but it didn't last long though as Taker hit the DDT. Bump off the turnbuckle into the sidewalk, slamming again, it's a 2 count. The Undertaker was just bouncing the youngest world champ around the corners, but he quickly knocked down the dead man with an elbow. Orton delivers some rights, but he sets up. So he continues the attack. Randy Sucks chant intensifies. Taker fights back, and it's a slugfest, rights and lefts until Taker hits a clothesline before applying the Dragon Sleeper. It seemed like the hold incapacitated Orton, but he quickly countered with a DDT. This didn't get him the win though, so he quickly went for the chin lock, and after another attempt, he gets backdropped. Both men recover, fans rally Taker on, and he bumps off the ropes, only to run into a power slam. And the corner delivers several strikes, he shows off, and it cost him? Nope. Last ride goes south, as does the RKO attempt, and the ref's knocked down. Taker goes for it again, and it kind of works, and all of a sudden, Hall of Fame Daddy runs in there with a cast and knocks out the Undertaker. He drags his son over him. Earl Hebner crawls towards them. 1, 2, no, he kicks out. Fans were going crazy and asked for Bob Orton. It's like he forgot to defrost the meat or something. And Orton, just to quote a familiar song, you're gonna pay. I'll see myself out. Father gets knocked down, and it's time for the choke slam. Nope. RKO. Fans go insane. Earl Hebner counts 1, 2, he kicked out again. Wow. All of a sudden, Orton decides to commit gimmick infringement by stealing Taker's taunt and attempting the tombstone. It gets countered. Orton tries fighting out, but there's nothing to do, and boom, he's on the receiving end of the tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, 3. Another match delivers. The Undertaker was 13-0 at WrestleMania. Despite the fact that Orton lost, he looked so damn good out there. Rumor has he was supposed to win, but out of respect for Taker, turned down the opportunity. Couldn't find a citation on that, but that's what I've been hearing for years. The chokeslam counter into the RKO will definitely stand the test of time. Performance definitely sticks out to me as an important chapter in Orton's WWE career. Why? Because after the failed heel run, Orton was really struggling. You know, he needed some fire and momentum, and that's what he got after WrestleMania. Once he returned, he feuded with The Undertaker, had 3 good to great matches. Hell in a Cell's underrated. And he was back on track. Sure, there was a little setback with the whole Rey Mysterio thing and him smoking a joint backstage, but he was doing way better than he was in 2004 after losing the title. And had his behavior allowed it, he probably would have been world champion then and there. Kudos to both men for an incredible performance. I was thoroughly entertained. You know, Orton stood toe-to-toe with The Undertaker and almost came out on top. It was probably the best Undertaker WrestleMania match up to this point. Might be a hot take, but that's what I'm going to say. I just enjoyed watching this one a bit more than the Triple H WrestleMania 17 or the Ric Flair WrestleMania 18 ones. But for you, it might be either one of these 3. Hell, it might even be the Kane match at WrestleMania 14 where he kicked out of 3 tombstones. But yeah, my favorite up to this point has to be the Randy Orton bout. The next match is for the WWE Women's Championship. Christy Hemme challenges Trish Stratus. Okay, this one is odd to me. By the looks of it, they were going to have Trish challenge Lita, but those plans never came to fruition because she got hurt. Hemme was the Diva Search winner, was on the front cover of Playboy, but all of this would quickly come to an end by December of 2005. Trish came out all Hollywood, and initially she did try schooling the challenger, and by the looks of it, she wasn't taking this match seriously. It was all a joke to her, but then the chick kick wasn't to be, and she was low-blowed. Unorthodox pinfall attempt from Hemme, all while Jerry Lawler was wondering where she got her wrestling gear. She showed some flexibility, hit a sunset flip, but again, Trish puts a stop with a tackle. Same thing happens. Christy builds momentum with a roll-up, some kicks, repeatedly slams the champ into the turnbuckle. Twist of fate is successful, but Trish kicks out, and she was relentless on the assault. Roll-up counters from both women, and once they get up, boom, chick kick. 1, 2, 3. Lita had a disappointed look on her face, and Trish retains. It was essentially a foregone conclusion. Christy didn't really look bad out there for what it was, and it was quick. Trish retained and had this little thing with Viscera, which I'll eventually dive into. So yeah. The next match was between Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. Wow, am I glad to be watching this one. Why? Well, the last time I did, I had 2 videos on this channel, if I remember correctly. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I haven't watched this in a long time. So the story of this one was simple. Kurt Angle wasn't proud of the fact that people thought HBK was better than him. It's a belief that he's had since 1996, and in his eyes, it was an insult to himself and everything he stood for. Angle attacks at the Rumble. HBK fights back a few weeks later after making the challenge. Sexy Kurt occurs, which is probably the most hilarious thing Kurt Angle has ever done, but at the same time, he was vicious. Shawn Michaels was left a bloody heap. Sensational Sherry was attacked, and it showed that Angle was poised to win that match. It's a dream match, and ever since Shawn Michaels returned in 2002, their paths had yet to be crossed. It was a long time coming, and to say they met those expectations during this night would be a massive understatement. I already talked about the feud in this video, but this is where I'm going to talk about the match itself. If you didn't know, Shawn Michaels debuted his leather chaps here, and he would never go back to wearing tights. Also, I still don't get why he and Kurt Angle never had these attires in SVR 2006, but whatever. We're talking about WrestleMania 21 here, not SVR. And it was time. Both men went face to face, eye to eye. The bell rings, and damn am I hyped. HBK makes it seem like he's going for a collar and elbow, but does the most HBK thing ever and slaps Angle, who responds with a takedown, trying to mat wrestle Shawn Michaels. In Jerry Lawler's eyes, that was an odd approach due to the fact that Angle's like the GOAT wrestler. He's like the best pure wrestler in WWE at this point. He proceeded to go for the side headlock, and Angle's trying to free himself, but Shawn's very persistent. Even took a back suplex, yet kept the hold locked in. Little shoulder tackle, and it's back to the same predicament, and oddly enough, he was finding success with this strategy. Angle slowly being pushed off his game, and for the third time, HBK goes for the side headlock takeover. Angle finally breaks free after pulling the hair, but gets a hip toss, a little hold. And in JR's eyes, he felt as if Angle didn't really focus on mat wrestling, and that's his explanation as to why he's still stuck in this predicament. He once again lifted HBK only to find himself being pinned to the mat. Backslide transitions into the side headlock again, 4th time I believe. This is my favorite part of this chapter of the match. So Angle is annoyed over the fact that HBK dominated him with a mat wrestling, right? So he tries forcing it into a fight rather than a technical match, and because of this, the match kicked into second gear. Angle quickly goes for the ankle lock, but HBK evades and clotheslines Kurt over the top rope. He clears the announce table only to walk into several uppercuts. Suplex attempt wasn't to be, but Angle managed to ram that back into the steel post, so now Kurt Angle was going to focus on that lower back, knowing HBK is past. High suplex gives him a 2 count, and he was grounding the heartbreak kick. Body scissors applying pressure on that lower back, and Michaels actually managed to get back up and deliver several chops. Orton rights the ship with a rough Irish whip before finally connecting with the belly to belly. It worked out so well that he executed another one, and after targeting that back, both men engaged in a slugfest of sorts until HBK slapped the taste out of Angle's mouth, leading to a clothesline. And damn, just look at how angry that guy was. He tried going for something on the top, only to fall on his back, and as HBK goes for the elbow, nobody's home until the straps are down. Angle slam is countered into an arm drag, and Kurt gets way ahead of himself and is thrown over the top. Crossbody, he tries re-entering the ring only for Angle to come in and attempt a German of all moves. Because of this, Michaels desperately low-blowed Angle, and that's one of the reasons why I like Shawn Michaels. Why? Well, he wasn't the best morally, and it showed here. He wasn't a clean-cut good guy. Here, he was desperate and decides to low-blow Kurt. He pushes Angle away and hits a springboard crossbody right onto him, but the table never gave way. Once they're back in the ring, Angle's bleeding from the mouth, and another slugfest. Actually, it was one-sided. Flying forearm, the kip up, and some fans are booing. He begins the comeback, atomic drop, body slam, and HBK goes up top. This time it works, and it was time to tune up the band. That wasn't to be because Angle blocked it into the ankle lock. Fans are going crazy. Michaels was trying to force himself out of it, but it wasn't working. He was desperately reaching for that rope, and it took a while for him to reach it, but he finally did it. Kurt Angle goes for another angle slam, but HBK leads himself back to the ankle lock. He managed to escape this time around when a sweet chin music was countered into the Angle slam. 1, 2, no. Angle is getting frustrated, so he pulls the straps up again, only to take them down and hit a moonsault on John Cena. Also, why does this guy hate Shawn Michaels? Like, did he do something to him in the lobby? He goes up top only to receive a top rope angle slam. Fans think it's over, but it wasn't. The Olympic hero, because of this, was raging, and so he began shouting at Shawn Michaels, and it bit him in the face as Michaels super kicked him. Once he crawls towards Kurt after like a minute, he kicked out, and after that, he looked out of it. He looked completely lost, and it was a huge mistake because Angle was playing possum, and this time around, he lost the ankle lock and was stuck in the middle of the ring. He was holding on like his life depended on it. Add to that, whenever Michaels was close to reaching the ropes, Angle drags him right back in, and then he grapevined the leg, and that was it. Whatever HBK did, he was stuck, contemplating whether or not to tap. The crowd was thinking it's over, but he still held on. But in the end, he took enough pain, and so Shawn Michaels tapped out. I take back what I said during the WrestleMania 25 video, I said something along the lines of Bret Austin and the Undertaker HBK matches were the greatest in WrestleMania history. Well, this one's up there with them. It was an incredible display on the biggest stage of them all. They started off with the technical stuff. HBK beat Angle at his own game, causing him to force it into a fight, and from there they showed exactly why they were two of the very best in the business. And yes, this match was 5 stars. It's gotta be. You had the atmosphere, action, everything. It was glorious, and I can't say anything bad about it. For sure, it's match of the year 2005. Otherwise, I'd be smoking something if I said it wasn't. Man, it was ridiculous in the best way possible. On the Kurt Angle show last month, Kurt Angle spoke about this matchup with Shawn Michaels. And I quote, "Wrestling Shawn was a dream come true. Going into it, we ended up having the story. The Angle started at the Rumble, and I was so excited because when I first saw Shawn wrestle at Survivor Series a couple of years prior, I had never watched him wrestle before, so the first time I was in awe. It came down to him and 5 guys on the other team, and because it was elimination, he went through those 5 guys. He didn't win and lost at the very end, but he eliminated 4 of them. The way he sold, his technique, his charisma, Shawn is without a doubt the best overall performer I've ever seen." Okay, I don't want to fill this part of the video with quotes, but Angle claims Vince left it up to himself and Michaels to determine who wins it. HBK felt that since Angle was going to have a program with Batista, then he should win it. Also, come to think of it, it's a damn shame we never got to see Angle versus Batista, like a full-on program. I feel Angle would have brought out the very best in Batista. Like, that guy, he knows how to work wonders with talent, knowing very well that no damn match was going to top that. Roddy Piper hosted the Piper's Pit, with his guest being Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, 2 faces of 2 generations. The bad guy, the anti-hero of the mid-80s to early 90s, and the anti-hero of the late 90s to early 2000s. Piper felt that he was the baddest guy in WWE history and wanted to know what the hype was all about with this Stone Cold guy. Austin came out donning the SVR 2006 attire, and Piper welcomed Austin to the pit before slapping him. Who else could do that as Stone Cold? Not The Rock, not Vince, not Mick Foley, but Piper himself. He thanked Hot Rod for having him before responding with a slap of his own, and because of this, he actually liked Stone Cold and respected him. The what chants were annoying him, so he asked if they were deaf, and they were bombarding him with these chants, and he even did it to Austin. He told Steve that he was the original rebel. He was annoying Vince when WrestleMania didn't have a number, back when Austin was wearing diapers, and regarding the rebel thing, Steve's got nothing on him. He responded saying that he trusts no SOB, including Piper, and Austin wanted to know if he was supposed to be intimidated by this guy. Like, there's nothing scary about him. The kilt, the goatee, the broken down boots, damn. Piper saw this as them failing to communicate properly, and all of a sudden, Carlito Caribbean Cool interrupts. They were under the belief the other had Carlito planned to come out, and he told him straight up that they're not cool before saying nobody wants to see them. Piper's like, "For you." He suggested they walk down to the back because it was his time, and Carlito teased spitting the apple, but Piper caught it and did the exact same thing to him. He blasts him. Austin watches on for a few before getting involved. He stomps a mud hole, poke in the eyes, and boom, stunner. They celebrate with some cold beverages, and after about a minute, Stone Cold stuns Hot Rod himself. I want to ask you guys a question, like for those of you that remember the mid-2000s, late 2000s, remember the WWE ice cream used to come with this little card, and I specifically recall the Stone Cold Stunner on Hot Rod as being one of those cards. You guys remember it? Yeah, cool segment to cool down the crowd, and I was entertained. Oh no, it's time. I have a right mind to skip this, but we gotta talk about it. Well, if you want to skip it, that's up to you. So, Aki Bono, a sumo wrestler, faced Big Show in a sumo match. It's a first for WrestleMania, I believe. Anyways, they start things off after like 7 minutes, and I don't know how to call this. They're slapping each other, pushing each other away. Big Show's trying to force him out, and it was the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. He screws up, and Big Show once again falls on his ass to lose at WrestleMania for the 100th time. Whatever that was, I don't know what it was. Who cares? I guess WWE wanted something for the Big Show. Add to that, Aki Bono, I assume, was big in Japan. I'm not sure. They thought it was a good idea. Yeah, I'm just not interested in this. Every time I watch WrestleMania 21, I usually skip this because I don't really care about it. Also, if you didn't know, Aki Bono's an actual wrestler. He wrestled in All Japan Pro Wrestling, actually won the world title there. He held the tag titles, I believe, and he actually managed to have a decent career down in All Japan, and it was time. The next match was for the WWE Championship. JBL defends the gold against John Cena. So, at this point, he had a rocket strapped to him the size of Batista's
dick, bro.
He had his own damn theme song, add to that his own custom belt, and if that wasn't enough, an album was planned for mid-2005. I can't name a single mid-carder, let alone a main eventer that had all of those things at the time. But with that said, Cena won the right to challenge for the title at No Way Out. JBL cost him the US gold, and then Teddy Long enforced a no-touch rule. John was trying his best to provoke JBL, but in the end, he went out on top after having Cena arrested for vandalizing his limousine. The WWE Champion had a police escort. JBL money came falling out of the sky, and I bet it's worth more than Usher bucks. He told Orlando Jordan to go to the back. Why? Because he wanted to do things on his own, which is quite ironic due to the fact that JBL's entire title reign was saved by an external source. JBL had held the title for 280 days at this point. It was the longest title reign since Diesel in 1995. John Cena didn't have any flashy stuff. He was just donning that chain, and after nearly 3 years, he was finally gonna get that chance. The bell rings, collar and elbow tie-up. The guy from the streets versus the rich guy. JBL showed off his speed and aggressiveness in the very early going, and the heat this match had fizzled out quicker than Dean's heel run in 2018. It was honestly forgettable. JBL's in control, trying to choke out Cena with the ropes. He hung him up, and the challenger tries fighting back, but took the one-handed spine buster. He gets the neck breaker, but Cena kicks out. Nasty boot, and things were looking very bad for the challenger. He tried battling back, but he's not down. JBL hits his brutal-ass clothesline and would have gotten him the victory, but Cena put his foot on the rope. Huge blow to the back, headlock, Cena drops him. It's boring. Both men knocked each other down with a clothesline, and the crowd was just there. Heel takes back control on the outside, and damn, it just didn't kick into high gear. Back in the ring, JBL hits the superplex, and the commentary team sensed the gloomy future for John Cena. JBL goes up top and lands into a power slam, and once both men get up, Cena finally fights back, and the crowd starts waking up. He makes his comeback, shoulder tackles, side slam, 5-knuckle shuffle. He pumps up the Reeboks, but JBL kicks him, goes for the clothesline from hell, but Cena ducks and boom, F you. 1, 2, 3. JBL's time is up, and Cena's time is now. Well, that happened. I don't know why Cena's biting the title ain't made of chocolate, but match was honestly forgettable. While the match may have been boring, the moment Cena hoisted the title is still remembered to this very day, and I just don't know why it felt so anticlimactic. You know, I know both men aren't the best wrestlers, but it should have had some near falls excitement to it. Wouldn't have been a world beater, but it would have been a bit better, so there's that. But yeah, John Cena, new champion, history was made at WrestleMania 21. In an interview last year, JBL spoke about his matchup with John Cena. No doubt about it, going against Cena, I think it was WrestleMania 21 at the Staples Center, that was such a thrill, man. To go out in the main event of WrestleMania as the champion, I'm such a huge wrestling fan and remember all the WrestleManias growing up as a kid. From WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, I remember the build-up to the big body slam of the Giant with Hulk Hogan. So getting to be in WrestleMania, then also getting to walk out as champion, I don't know if I'll ever have a moment that will be any more cool than that. Now that Cena was champion, fans were adoring him, they were loving him. He was riding high and he was basically enjoying life. I mean, the album was going to come out the next month and that reached number 15 on the Billboard 200 and number 3 on Hot Rap Albums, which is completely ridiculous. And the victory in itself, like I said, it's an important chapter in his career, but you already know that. Next up, the Hall of Fame class of 2005 came out. It was a very star-studded one. Nikolai Volkov, former tag team champion. The Iron Sheik, former WWF champion in 1983. Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, who main evented WrestleMania 1. Cowboy Bob Orton, who main evented WrestleMania 1 as well. Jimmy Hart, manager of the Hart Foundation. Nasty Boys, Hulk Hogan, a bunch of guys and factions. Roddy Piper, IC champion and one of the greatest to never hold the WWF championship. And Hulk Hogan, 6-time WWF champion, 6-time WCW champion. You guys know it. Okay, it's time to get serious. Triple H defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Batista. Okay, this one, it's the special one. So, Batista was not even supposed to be in this situation. It was for Randy Orton, but after his face run failed, Batista slotted in that role. Fans took a liking to him ever since November 2004, and just that moment where he teased going after the world title, it was long-term storytelling. Because of this, they teased a little Batista Triple H confrontation. He got cheered, and funny enough, Vince felt this was a TV match. Triple H begged him to drag it to WrestleMania. Batista won the Rumble, and it was a great choice. He had this main event aura to him. Add to that, he treated himself like a star with the suits, the sunglasses, the little nuances. And even though 05 Batista wasn't the best in the ring, I don't care. He was awesome. Okay, Motorhead performed Triple H's entrance theme song. Triple H takes a page out of the Brood's book, emerging from the pits of hell, I guess. And as for Batista, like John Cena, it was the same normal entrance. Okay, it was time for Evolution to implode. The bell rings and Batista didn't budge. It's like he's seen his future already in kayfabe. Rough collar and elbow tie-up. Batista pushes the game away. Side headlock from the champ, fails to take down Batista. And it took him a bit. As a matter of fact, he had to go full force. Triple H goes for it again, but runs into a press slam, hard Irish whip from the animal, and he corners Triple H with a strikes and then a high back body drop. On the outside, Flair provided a distraction, giving way to Triple H finding an opening, and the ring began choking Dave. Flair did as well to the delight of fans, and following this, the game targets the lower back. All the while the fans were loudly chanting, Batista, Batista. Blows to the back, suplex gets him a near fall. Flair makes it 2 for 2 with the Blazer choke, and the pace was slowing down at this point. Triple H was trying to prevent Batista from bursting out, and there were moments where that was going to happen, but luckily for himself, that wasn't the case. As he goes for the pedigree, Batista backdrops him, and he responds with a facebuster, and the kick out Batista made got Triple H a bit worried. So he goes up top and walks into a clothesline. Then he proceeded to force the game right out of the ring, and he bounced back by bouncing Batista shoulder first into the steps. He then attempted a pedigree on the steps, but gets catapulted, and correct me if I'm wrong, this was when Batista took 90% control. Let's see if I'm wrong. The commentary team felt as if the momentum was shifting at this point. Batista was delivering some rough blows to the world champion. He was getting manhandled at this point. He was throwing him from corner to corner, so much to the point where Triple H was begging for mercy. Running power slam gets him a 2 count. Triple H tries grabbing a chair, but the ref takes it away, and again, he's begging for mercy, but Flair comes in this time. The ref's distracted, and Triple H finally fights back using the title belt, but Batista kicks out, and the fans were loving it. He tries running towards the challenger, only to receive a spine buster. Batista bomb, how about low blow? Game tries going for the pedigree, but he couldn't lift the bastard. Add to the fact that he parted his hands away like the Red Sea, knocks him down, thumbs up, thumbs down, Batista bomb 1, 2, 3. He's finally done it. As JR said, the beast has been unleashed. Fans went unglued at the result, and it shows just how invested in the story they were. I mean, Batista was the main man following this victory, and after the match, he raised the title right at Triple H's face, adding insult to injury. Match itself, it was way better than John Cena versus JBL, and it did drag at some points, but for the most part, it was decent. It wasn't as good as neither Orton nor Angle or Shawn, but it was decent enough. It wasn't special, it wasn't really good outright, but like I said, it did its job. It showed that Batista was an animal, a force to be reckoned with, so there's that. Like I said, it dragged at some points, but whatever, it did its job, so there's that. Overall, WrestleMania 21 was good as hell. Sure, the main events may have dragged it down, but who cares, right? I mean, despite that, those 2 moments, they're still talked about to this very day. They're finally filling the void that Austin and Rock left. I'm not saying John Cena and Batista are bigger than Austin and Rock. Somebody's gonna comment that. I'm not saying that, no. I'm just saying, like, they fill that void of the top 2 babyfaces being missing. Other than that, like, those, if it wasn't for that, this would be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Like, if those 2 matches just delivered a little bit, it would have been the GOAT WrestleMania. It was the greatest undercard in WrestleMania history in my eyes. You know, you had Eddie versus Ray, good match. You had the Money in the Bank, which was superb stuff, best Money in the Bank match of all time, in my eyes. You had Undertaker versus Randy Orton, which was good as hell, established Orton as a star despite the fact that he lost. It was a very important chapter in his career. You had Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, which was legendary. Cena winning the title, and Batista hoisting the title in the end, so there's that. Like I said, this WrestleMania is probably top 5 for me. I like the vibe, the theme, everything about it. I have it on DVDs, one of the only DVDs I have. I used to have a bunch of them as a kid. And while it could have been better, you know, The Rock could have returned and had the little thing at WrestleMania with somebody like Randy Savage. I don't think it was going to be good, but just the sight of it, it would have been memorable for certain. Or if only he had a match with Sting. Either way, it would have been a sight to see had The Rock faced one of those 2. But yeah, it's still one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time, despite the fact the main events didn't deliver as well as they did. What did you guys think of WrestleMania 21? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit a FU on the like button and perhaps a Batista bomb on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.